Hi, welcome to Mark's English Academy, the place to learn English fast. The problem with learning English as an adult is that you miss all the years of learning English as a kid. And those years are so important for fluency. So in this series, I'm going to teach you things that a kid would learn. Kids love stories. So in this lesson, I'm going to read you two stories on my iPad, but I think these stories weren't written by a native English speaker because they have a few mistakes. But I'll show you where those mistakes are when we read the story. If you've written a children's story, then send it to me and I'll edit it for free. And also, I'll read it in one of my future lessons to help you get a little bit more popular as an author. But now let's dive into these stories. So this app is called Stories for Children, and it has two free stories, The Hare and the Tortoise, and The Ant and the Grasshopper. The rest of the stories you have to pay for. So let's start by reading The Hare and the Tortoise. Read by myself. Once upon a time, a tortoise was walking on the road. A hare saw him and started laughing loudly. Okay, the first thing I want to point out is you'll see here the T and the H are capital. They don't need to be capitalized because they're not the names of the animals. We know they're not the names of the animals because of the word a here, a tortoise, a hare. If they were the names, then they should be capital and we wouldn't have the word a here. It's very common in children's stories for the names of the animals to be what they're called. So it would be, his name would be Tortoise, and his name would be Hare. So once upon a time, Tortoise was walking on the road. This word here, on, it would sound better if it was along or down. Tortoise was walking down the road, or Tortoise was walking along the road. A hare saw him and started laughing loudly. Ha ha ha! Look at you! You are so slow, said the hare on seeing the slow pace of the tortoise. The tortoise got angry and challenged the hare to a race. The tortoise said, "Though you run fast, I can beat you in a race." The hare immediately agreed, saying, "Why not? I am faster than you. I can beat you any time." On the race day, the hare and the tortoise arrived at the start point. So this would sound a little bit more natural without the word the, just on race day. Or on the day of the race, the hare and the tortoise arrived at the start point. When the tiger fired the gun, the hare raced ahead while the tortoise slowly followed behind. The hare was quite ahead of the tortoise in no time at all. He saw that the tortoise was walking slowly far behind him. The hare became very happy. The hare was so sure about winning the race that he decided to take a little nap under the tree. While the hare was dozing, the tortoise continued walking slowly and went ahead of the hare. The tortoise now led the race and reached the finish line first. The hare woke up and ran towards the finish line, but he reached after the tortoise and lost the race. One thing I want to tell you is that the verb reached, when it's used to mean arrived, it needs to have an object. So it should say, but he reached there after the tortoise and lost the race. The tortoise won the race and joyfully held the winner's trophy. The poor hare started crying because he had lost the race to the slow tortoise. The moral of the story is, slow and steady wins the race. The tortoise won because he was determined and did not stop for a second. The hare lost because he was overconfident and had taken his win for granted. All right, next we'll read the story of the ant and the grasshopper, but first it's sponsor time. This lesson is brought to you by nobody. Instead of watching my budgies eat birdseed, you could be watching me promote your product or service. Alright, the next story is called The Ant and the Grasshopper. Let's let the app read it for us.
Once upon a time, the grasshopper was playing his guitar and enjoying the sunshine.
I didn't know grasshoppers were that good at playing guitar.
The grasshopper sat under a tree and played happily. He saw an ant working very hard to gather food. The grasshopper laughed at the ant and said, "Stop your silly work and have fun with me." "No," said the ant, "I am gathering food for winter. You must do that too." "Ha, ha, ha! Right now I have plenty to eat. Why should I worry now?" laughed the grasshopper. The grasshopper spent the rest of the sunny days having fun. Finally, winter season began. The grasshopper shivered in the cold and had nothing to eat. Everything was buried under the snow. The hungry grasshopper could not find anything to eat. He went to the ant's house and knocked. The ant opened the door. The grasshopper cried, "I am hungry. I cannot find anything to eat." The ant felt pity on him. The ant called the grasshopper inside and gave him food. The grasshopper ate happily and promised the ant that he will never waste time before winter. Moral: be responsible and prepare for days of necessity.
Alright, if you like children's stories like I do, then click on the like button right down there, and I'll see you over in the next lesson. Take care.